Hello guys, I'm Vicky Murgatroyd from Life Empowerment Project and welcome to this week's blog. This week we're going to be talking about one of my favourite topics of late, which is leadership. So how you can really step into that space of being a leader. And specifically today we're going to be talking about the one behaviour that you have to give up. You cannot be a leader unless you give this other thing up. So, if you really want to be a leader, what you have to give up is being a pleaser. One of my coaches very early on pointed out to me that this is what I was doing. And he was right. Pure and simple. I was worried about what other people thought and I was worried about their feelings and I wanted to make sure they were all okay. So what happens when we do that is we lose our leadership. So he put it to me very simply that you can either be a leader or you can be a pleaser. When you're trying to please everyone and make sure that everyone's okay and you don't hurt anybody's feelings, etc., you cannot be the leader. Because if you can't break them through that bullshit, if you continue to allow people to get away with their bad habits, especially if you're in the coaching and wellness space, you're doing them a complete and utter disservice. You're allowing that behaviour to go on. You're enabling that behaviour to continue. And it's absolutely useless. And I'll tell you why you already know that. Because you have two lines of rhetoric going. Somebody comes to you, either a client or a prospect or something similar, and they say to you the usual excuse. Oh, this has happened, or I didn't have time to do the things we said, or I'm just not getting it, or whatever else bullshit excuse they're holding in their mind. And instead of saying what's going through your head, which is, are you kidding me, are we here again, and breaking them out of that pattern, what you hear yourself saying is, oh well, okay, let's just try this and we'll see what we can do here. And it's absolutely useless. Now, in our minds, we're coming from a beautiful place. We want to help them, we want to make sure that they're okay. But the best thing that you can do for people is ask yourself this question in those situations. What is going to best serve this person now? Do I allow them to continue with that? Or do I say what really needs to be said, point out the elephant in the room and shut the whole thing down? So specifically in terms of this, I'm talking about leading with your clients. This also applies to your staff when this needs to happen as well, if you're at that stage. But for now, when we're talking about your clients, the more of a leader you can be, the more you can hold that space, set those strong boundaries of this is what's expected, this is what I'll bring to the table for sure, and this is what you can bring to the table. The boundaries are in place, everybody's comfortable, everybody knows their role. And because you don't deviate from that ever, then your clients get results. Because you know full well, if they carry on with that old bullshit pattern, the limiting behaviour, etc., and they're allowed to carry on with that because that's just what they do and that's just what happens to them, then it's not serving them in any capacity whatsoever. So you've got to choose. Are you going to be a pleaser or are you going to be a leader? Completely up to you, but your career rides on it. No pressure or anything. When you do make the switch, I can guarantee that's the best of you that comes out. Your confidence grows, you get better and better at calling people on their stuff and allowing them to break free and break through. When you do that, you are fulfilling your highest potential. And because you are growing and you're raising your standards, the people around you raise their standards as well. It's a completely win-win situation. So, my top quick tips on how to improve your leadership, especially if you're feeling shaky starting out. Now, a lot of the women that I speak to, they start out saying, but I'm a bit of an introvert and it's just not in my nature to do that and that's just not me. That's your story. That's your story that you need to break through. That was exactly my story as well, so I know precisely where you're coming from. But at the end of the day, when you're with your closest ones, you will call them out on their limitations, on their excuses, etc. We just call people out who we're close with and comfortable with. But the majority of us, when it comes to the phase of doing that with your clients, with prospects who you've just met, etc., you're not as keen to do it. So, in terms of tips, whatever's going on in your mind, find a very respectful way of expressing that, but also be blunt. There is no point sugarcoating around something. When somebody's bringing you excuses, etc., drop it down. Just allow that person to be stopped in their tracks, because that shock in itself is going to break that pattern for them, and you know that because I know that you're good at what you do. So when it comes down to it, take the opportunity to actually speak out. I was speaking to this with a client this morning. Now, when we actually take those steps, very quickly, the confidence is going to build. But it's not something you can build confidence with until you're doing it. So take the step. Also utilize your tonality. So you can soften the blow by saying something, for instance, as, I totally know where you're coming from, but if we're going to allow this to continue to be a problem for you, then you're not going to get anywhere. And I know that you want some big results, and that's why I know that you're willing to put in the work to stop these excuses from getting in your way again. So play around with your tonality when you give and take. So in that sense, it allows you to hold the conversation, because it's going to be one leader in the conversation. Two of you, one leader. Who's going to take it? Because if you allow them to lead and them to get away with their stuff, they're going to walk away from you, having finished your services, still with their stuff. Or you can choose to create a little bit of discomfort for yourself in the first place and break them out of that discomfort completely. So huge impact for them and a small change for you. So, finally, in terms of your leadership, it's certainty. Link it back. Whatever you're telling somebody is for their greater good. You know, if you're working with somebody and you're the leader, they've come to you for help, that's now your responsibility to help them. So again, what is going to help them? Breaking out of the pattern or staying in the pattern? Allow yourself to step into that leadership space, break people through, and I guarantee it's not only going to be phenomenal for you, it's going to be phenomenal for your business as a whole as well. So choose. Are you going to be a pleaser or are you going to be a leader? You've got the leadership capabilities within you. I remember being told by a few people, actually, over a few years, that I wasn't a leader and I didn't have leadership qualities. Everything can be learned. Now, I used to be the shyest person and I would not say boo to a goose unless I really knew that goose, and then I would tell them exactly what I thought. So these are talents that we can cultivate. So go ahead and look for your opportunities this week with your clients in general situations to really step out into your leadership and know that you are able to break people through and break people free of their complete and utter limitations that have been interrupting their whole life until now. That power is in your hands and it happens with every choice that you make. So if you're going to be a leader, you've got to give up being a pleaser. Go out, have fun this week, and I'll see you on next week's blog. In the meantime, live empowered and be inspired.